mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer, and it is in His name, which is His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect. Tonight's message, Aman. So, Shalom, peace, fam. Hope all is well with everybody. Hopefully, everybody can see and hear us all right. We give our honor and praise to the Most High. We give our praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who was elected able to be honored. To the ministerial staff, moderators, SOC, Lottie Di, and everybody. Hopefully, all is well with you. Thank you for being on with us one more again. And we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to say our Bible pledge. We're going to jump right in. This is my Bible. This is my sword. And this will I trust. For Yahashua is Lord. No sword of God shall ever be heard. For this is my Bible. And this is Yah's word. Hashem Yahweh. Amen. All right. So shalom, peace. Welcome. Welcome to everybody coming on in on both platforms. But thank you so much. How you doing? Minister Raj, all praise to the Most High. Sister Deborah, Elder Tamra, T-Boy, and anybody, if I miss you, charge to my head, not to my heart. We're thankful and grateful and appreciative to have you all on. And tonight we're going to talk about something that we talk about somewhat often. How you doing, Brother Keith? We talk about love, but tonight we're going to focus on love without loopholes. Love without loopholes. And I'm going to be very quick and straight to the point. How you doing, Mr. You heard me? Because one of the things that happens when persons talk about love is they try to find how many ways out of loving somebody there is, right? Right? But love without loopholes means that our love is standard. What is the standard? The standard is the Most High's love, right? By this will man know that we are His disciples, by the way we love each other, if we love each other the way that He loved us, right? And so, and all these different things, and hopefully you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. One platform. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Yes, no? Yes? Okay, cool. Awesome. So love without loopholes. One of the things that we have been able to do very craftily, I might add, is to find ways to say that we love each other but not show love, or to say that we love the Most High even but have limits, right? And we have a limitless Yahweh, we have a limitless Adon, a limitless Yah, a limitless Elohim, who loves us limitlessly, right? As long as, we follow laws and things of that nature, of course, but he has an unlimited love towards those who are His children. And yet we try to find as many ways as possible to, maybe we'll love somebody, maybe we'll not, right? Or maybe if somebody can give me something, I'll give them something. Or maybe if, right, when the reality is that the love of Yah comes without loopholes, right? Now there are rules and regulations, but loopholes is different, right? Because what many persons mean or thinking about when they're talking about love and love without loopholes and things of that nature, persons are usually trying to find out whatever way they can to get out of it, right? To get out of that contract, to get out of what you said you were going to do at work. A lot of us do a lot of different things craftily to get out of things, right? We say we're going to do something. We say we're going to work out. We say we're going to study more. We say we're going to pray more. We say we're going to communicate, etc., right? But we find loopholes, right? Like when the beginning of the year started. Oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I promise I'm going to do this. How you doing, Brother Cole? I promise I'm going to do this many times a week. But then if we look, we keep finding that persons find ways out of it, loopholes, constantly and consistently. But this love that we have, this action, this achabach that we've been commanded to give one another, agape, etc., it is without loopholes. Right? How you doing, Sterling? It is without loopholes. So a lot of persons keep trying to find a way of loving you until. I'll love you up until this. I'll love you up until that. But the love that we have is until. Right? Now there are different things like we try to make sure that we teach here. Hey, don't how you doing, Callum? Don't try to be anybody's doormat. Right? Don't allow persons to misuse you, to misguide you, to mishandle you, to not teach truth, to not give true word to you. That being said, though, right, we are called to even love those who would despitefully use us. We have been called to love those who, in fact, are called our enemy. Right? Now, that might mean that, therefore, my love towards my enemy is not something that I'm going to give towards my wife or my child. That being said, though, if even an enemy is in trouble, my my call, my walk, my desire even is to help that person, right? My desire, if I say that I am who I truly am, if I say that I really go by the Most High, His word, His will, His love, His actions, then the way that He would love a Judas Iscariot until the end is the way that you love. And it's hard because a lot of us are like, no, no, no. Well, I'm not gonna let anybody. But look. At the end of the day, Judas isn't going where you're going, right? And Judas helping you, your Judas, whoever that is not somebody who is stopping you from doing what Yahweh is telling you to do, right? You need to learn how to love without loopholes. Learn how to love your spouse without, oh, okay, this if they do this one thing, I'm out. Have you learned how to love without loopholes? Learn how to love without a get out of jail free card, right? Learn how to love somebody without, oh, okay, well, when this person does this, I'm out. No, no, no. Like, we have been called to love and even show persons what true love is. A lot of these persons that we're dealing with them are not even aware of what true love is, right? They've heard about true love's kiss, whatever that is. They've heard about dating, whatever that is, but they haven't heard about true going out of your way every day to make yourself better, to love yourself, that you might be able to love somebody else, right? Who, and how you doing, Sister Shirley, and everybody coming in? If I miss you on any platforms, welcome, welcome, right? And how you doing, Brother Alton? How you doing, Minister Morel? I'm sorry, you said you're from Europe and you want to ask about women justice to vote. Thank you. As far as, I apologize, there's a lot in there. Do I believe that a woman should be able to vote? Yes. I'm not sure if that's exactly what your question is, right? But yeah, we believe that women should be able to do a lot more than just only simply vote. Really, to be honest, in our culture, in our community, we don't even vote. We have a king already, so we don't really worry about some of those things. But that being said, yes, a woman should be able to speak her mind. She should be able to, if you believe in voting for your culture and stuff like that, we don't find any problem with that. Um, we believe that women should be treated righteously, right? That's the main thing, right? And that righteous love. Even if you're talking about should a woman do this, should a woman do that, first things first for us in our culture, should a woman be loved? And if a woman should be loved, how you doing, brother, big brother Thomas? If a woman should be loved, then yeah, then now we get into a place of where we protect her ability to love and to be loved, and to be loved how she deserves, and to be loved how the Most High says. So love doesn't have loopholes in that either, right? I've said before, even with the so-called black population in the United States, one of the things that really we let our sisters down on is when we were allowed to vote, right? Um, 15th Amendment, correct? I hope I'm saying the right amendment. I should have the amendment set. But 15th Amendment, I believe, right, where 13th Amendment says that you were free from slavery, even though really it wasn't. 14th Amendment is when they started saying you were a citizen, when that was really something deployed to make sure you didn't have any land. And then the 15th Amendment, where men were allowed to vote, but we didn't fight hard for our sisters to vote. See the lack of love there. In that instance, we could have stood up for our women, for our sisters, for our mothers, for our daughters, and said, "Yeah, we appreciate that, but we're not gonna just go into that without our women's choices being upheld, right?" But we didn't do that. So that even shows about love. Love doesn't have any loopholes. We say we love our wives, but we weren't there for them at that time. We say we love our women still to this day, and our women tell us they do not feel protected. If they do not feel protected, then we should hear that. See, that's love, and not have the loopholes of, well, if women didn't do, no, no, no. Like, if I'm supposed to love you as my brother and my sister, I'm supposed to love you, period. According to Yahweh's love. And that's the problem that we have, is even with the interaction and stuff. So to the person who asks, of course we believe that women should vote, but it goes deeper than that. The only reason why you having issues with the only reason we even have issues with that is we have issues with treating women fairly, because of the culture that we've been raised in. That's not how you get things done. How you doing, culture prospect, right? That's not how you get things done. You're supposed to in this culture, in this beastly system that we're in, women are supposed to be mistreated diabolically, as such. As women, they're supposed to be treated disproportionately, So unfair, purposefully. That's the purpose in the system, right? Women are thought of in this system to be nothing more than a tool for a lot of men. Even the way that women approach us, they're supposed to shrink their shoulders in. They're supposed to speak with a softer voice. They are not supposed to tell us what they want, what they desire. And ultimately that comes to a place where we're not loving and not communicating and not protecting our sisters. So, love comes without loopholes. If we say that we love the Most High, who we've never seen at all, and yet we can't show love to our wives and love to our sisters, then we're the ones that are off. We have the problem. We have the issue, right? And when you can't love your wife, you're not going to love your community. When we cannot love your children, you're not going to be able to uphold the community. If you're a pastor or desire that office, but we can't depend on you to make sure that you're loving your home, those in your home. Yeah, we got a problem. And we can see, we were talking about that earlier today, that family matters, in our live sessions, and it's very true. And a lot of persons forget how much the family matters, how much importance it is, how much even it is it's. I don't want you to look at it lowly. That being said, hopefully you get the context. It's a practicing ground. You know, before you get ready to start your business, can you run the business of your family well? Before you get ready to make sure that you start looking for your wife, or you think you found a wife, first things first, have you become a safe place for a wife, right? Like, these are things that are mandatory and necessary, but we don't necessarily look at them when it comes to our love for one another. But first things first is, can you love in-house? Can you love indoors? Can you love yourself? And Shalom, Sister Taylor, how's everybody doing? How you doing, Brother Rodney? Right? Can you love yourself? um, Loving yourself is something that we leave off the table. What is it that you are going to do? How is it that you're going to uphold things? What are you going to make sure it's done so that you can look a certain way before we give to everybody else? Right? How you doing, Sister Judith? Before we take care of everybody else and we can tell everybody else, what it is to make them look great and feel great and all these different things, what are we doing within ourselves? What is the love that you have for yourself? I speak too much? Cool. Well, you're the one that gave one of the questions. Maybe you should go ahead and question somebody you want to hear speak. Right? That makes zero sense. You came on this platform and asked the person who's over the platform, who's running it, to shut up. It go to some other platform. It doesn't make sense, right? But I'm just saying all this. I'm saying all this to say, ultimately, we don't recognize, the love, and love comes without loopholes. Stop trying to find. We get very creative, right? But let's stop trying to find so many creative ways of getting out of loving ourselves, right? Let's or loving even others. Like, love is a staple of who we are. Love is action. Love is kind. Love is patient. All those things that we've read over the years. And the less we show love one to another, the more space there is for somebody to come in and cause anguish amongst ourselves, right? So, one of the things that we should try to do is love to the greatest level we can, and not sit back on our love, but release it. Let others see the love that we have. They can say whatever they want about Christ, can't say that he didn't love. you know and recall, you are one of his. You are part of the vine. So if the vine loves like that, then the branches love like that. The husbandman, he cuts off whatever doesn't need to be there. You said Muslim women don't have much power, though. Well, then, question: what are you going to do to try and help out with that? Or have you even made sure that first in your own house that a woman of any kind, is treated with respect? If Muslim women are treated with respect, and many of them aren't, just like many women of many different varieties and backgrounds aren't necessarily treated with respect. And the question is, what are you going to do to cause them to have a safe place where they can be respected? Or is it just going to be, oh, well, you guys talk about respect, but Muslim women don't? Unfortunately, I've learned this. Fortunately and unfortunately, it helps, and it can make you sad too, but I realize I can't help every single person in the world. So I have a responsibility for those that are around me, those are in my neck of the woods, or my hood, so to speak. The persons that live and that operate and that we're responsible for. we need to be able to take care of them. But if there's persons that others see, hopefully you guys are helping them to the best of your ability. Right? Sometimes we're so busy, oh, well, what about this? What about that? Okay, well, question, what are we going to do? Right? What is the plan that you have in mind to make sure that those women that you're talking about, that they are shown love? Because a lot of them aren't being shown love. You said, let's be honest. Well, I'm being honest. I help the sisters and I help brothers, right, who are near me and stuff. The question, even to be honest, we help some persons that are in Pakistan and stuff like that, dealing with that background and dealing with being hurt, persecuted, messed over, all those things. So, but even in that, there's only so much that one person can do. Once again, what are we doing as a whole? What are you doing? That's something that you should ask, I think. What can you do to make sure that where you are, it's safe for women? How you doing, Sister Mignon? I can take care of where I am. Can you take care of where you are? And that's ultimately right. And if we want to do something similar, so sure, let's work on that together. Let's see what you can do where you are, and let's see what I can do where I am. Et cetera, to see what we can do to make these, to make persons' lives better. But when we hear a person, I'm just going to keep it real with you. Like you said, let's be honest. A lot of times somebody will come on and say, well, you guys aren't doing blah, blah. It's like, well, first of all, you don't know what we are and aren't doing. And even with that, I would say, what are you doing? You said Sharia law, violence, Pakistan, terror. Okay, so once again, what are you doing where you are at? It still comes back to the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Right? Like let's if we're saying, well, let's be honest. Well, yeah, let's be honest. I might not be able to send in a bunch of persons to stop that. Right? So what can I do to make sure that, first of all, those women who are here, that they're loved, that they experience, those men that are here, those children that are here, they experience love, right? Those who are over there, what can we do to make sure that we can be a bridge, an opportunity for them to come out? You said in Europe, a Christian country. I'm not a Christian, right? And whether they're Christians or not doesn't mean that they deserve less love or not. As women, right? You see what I'm saying? What is the goal? Is the goal just to be like, oh, okay, well, I want blah, blah, or is it to make sure that women are protected? And then once again, it comes to what are you going to do, right? What are we going to do? You're talking about in a Christian country. I'm not a Christian. I could care less if it's a Christian country or not. I care about the women that you say need to be protected. What are we going to do? You see what I'm saying? It gets to a place where we are finding loopholes out. Even when we say, well, so and so in this country needs, and these women need. Okay, well, what's going on? What's the situation? What are you going to do? Have you given anything to the cause? Right. A lot of times we forget that we have power, right, and we have the ability to speak on these things, and we have ability to use these platforms to get the word out. We also have the ability to use our bodies, right, to come up with things to help set up things so that persons can be safe. You said I'm talking too much. I got to get a job. I praise the Most High that He's blessed me to where I can do this and what I do for persons who actually care about it. Right. So if you're somebody lynching, go ahead and feel free to go wherever. But once again, we come back to this place, the space, right? When we're talking, and we got to get back to the space tonight. We're talking about, and I'm not going to be on, but so much longer. But let's have honest dialogue and all the stuff you guys are talking about. You guys aren't legit trying to show love. Love is action, right? Everybody's religious. The word religion just means what persons repetitively do as a legion. If you drink water and I drink water today, then we had a religious experience, right? That's not what we're talking about there. You see what I'm saying? Even in the love, you're not. See, in all the stuff we're talking, the persons even that are frustrated about me saying that we should be talking about love, loving each other. Love doesn't have loopholes. Give our best. You guys are frustrated because you're like, okay, the thing that I want to discuss, but it doesn't sound like love. It just sounds like, oh, okay, I got to be in charge. Talk about this, blah blah. But love is an action. What are we going to do as an action? Right, that's what I'm trying to get in our head, is in all the stuff we're talking about. Love doesn't have loopholes. If the Most High has shown you something like that, you probably are in a position to give some kind of action. Now, what are you willing to do, and how long are you willing to keep up with that action? It's up to you, not necessarily up to me, right? you might be called to do something in that area. So what are you going to do in that area? A lot of what happens is we love to bring up the issues to everybody else so we can say, why didn't you get anything done? But the reality is, if you're there, I'm not even sure if you're there, but let's say you are in one of those places you're talking about, with Sharia law and all these different things or whatever. Have you done anything to make it safer? If you're not in one of those places but you want to help, have you looked into programs to help? Are you somebody who is trying to learn laws and learn how to deal with the UN versus this versus that, et cetera, et cetera? These are things that we should ask ourselves, right? Rather than saying, hey, somebody who's already shown they don't have respect for women, they don't have respect for children, they don't respect the law, they don't respect, biblical law, et cetera, et cetera. If these persons don't do that, then why should we expect for them to do it now? They can't be our barometers. They can't be the persons we're looking at to say, this is what love is going to look like, right? Love looks like what Yah said it is. So we need to give that love as best we can to others, right? No loopholes, no reasoning why. See, this is one of the reasons. If the Most High says do something, the first thing we start looking for is all the reasons why it can't be done. We've just had it outlined, we just had it shown to us. But we don't have to worry about that. If Yah told us to do it, we have everything we need, right? So as we get ready to go into, our tomorrow, as we get ready to go through the week, as we get ready to go into more of these live sessions and things, whether we get ready to grow as a family unit, as a group, let's keep that in mind, that love doesn't have loopholes, right? And if you promise that you're going to do some kind of action or love, especially if it be the love of the Most High and our assignment He sent us on, then let us do it to the best of our ability. Okay? That being said, I love you all. I appreciate you, right? And let's go ahead and do what the Most High says. I hope you guys have a great evening. And prayerfully, we'll see you. More than likely, I'll be on live session tomorrow, and to make up for not being around during the weekend. And prayerfully, we'll see you guys then. Thank you again for being on. We appreciate you. Hopefully, you got something out of it. And remember, as always, that you are loved, you're necessary, you're majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be open. Shalom, family. Take care. Peace.